Hello, welcome to another Yarn Talk with Princess Tigerbutton. I think I'm starting to like that name. We'll keep working on that one for a while. I apologize if I sound a little rough today, and the light's a little weird. I've been having trouble finding a place to park where the light wasn't in my eyeballs. But I've had a cold the last week or so. It's been kind of kicking my butt. So, which is why we didn't have a weekly recap last week, is I had a sore throat. I was very stuffed up and just wasn't really in any shape to be talking for any length of time. But I have been crafting. So I do have plenty of things to show. In terms of business news, actually, before we get into that, sorry. If you're new here, welcome. Welcome to my channel. We do weekly recaps of what I've been working on and some little business updates. My name is Jaime. I am the main creator behind Princess Tigerbutton, and I run a crochet small business, and I sell my stuff online and in person at markets. So this channel is a place for me to share what I've been working on, share some new updates with the business in terms of what we're going to be doing, where we're going to be, what my thoughts are, and kind of give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, in terms of being a crochet business person, if that makes sense. If you like what we do here, please go ahead and give us a like, share, subscribe. You'll never miss another video from us. And share, especially share it with your friends. Drop us a comment. Let's start some conversations and see if we can't build something better for the community. In addition to the weekly recaps, I will share market vlogs when we go out to markets, and just any other commentary that I come across, and we'll turn into some extra content. Man, I can't get my words straight today. So if you're returning to this channel, welcome back. Glad to see you again. I hope you didn't miss me too much last week. So let's dive into business news. We've signed up for another big festival. I don't know if you guys have seen on your Facebook pages or anything, Foodies Fest. Seems like it's a traveling food truck festival that seeks to bring in local trucks and businesses and local artisans and put on a big, huge festival. They're actually doing two here in Massachusetts. They're doing one at Wrentham at the Wrentham Premium Outlets. But a lot of people say that events at Wrentham don't do very well, and I'm not sure why. I mean, it is a big shopping center with a huge parking lot, and it's like name brand outlet shops. So I don't know, maybe just people come there to shop and they're not looking for fairs and stuff, because they have people come from all over the world actually to shop there, which is pretty wild. But the other one is going to be in Auburn, which is actually where Mark is from. And it's going to be at the parking lot of the Auburn Mall, which you would think would be kind of a smaller venue, but it's more towards the middle of the state, and that might draw a different crowd. Or a crowd, at least, that's more interested in visiting a whole bunch of food trucks and artisans. Anyway, this will be their first time up here, so I don't really have a lot of data in terms of what they do, but I did do a little research on YouTube and online, trying to get an idea for how the shows go, and it seems like they're pretty well attended. A lot of people had a lot of good things to say about them. I was able to go back and forth with one of their booking coordinators, and she was able to answer all my questions, and I felt pretty good taking the gamble on the table fee. It was only $200 for the 3 days, which seems like a steal for a 10 by 10, so that's perfect for us. So I thought it would be worthwhile for me to take the risk and set up there. And that will be in July, so that'd be a good spot for us. And still plenty of time to get inventory set up. We are this Saturday going to be at the downtown Pasco quarter auction and bingo night, which is pretty exciting. We're pretty stoked for that after we got to visit it and participate last time. So I'm hoping that will do well for us. Probably not going to knock it out of the park, because it is a small venue and we're only there for a couple hours, most of which people are going to be sitting and bidding and playing bingo. But hey, it'll give us a good chance to get out and do some different things. And then the following weekend, we're going to be at the card show at Emerald Square Mall. Both days. I actually just talked to the promoter this morning, because I originally had put in a reservation for an 8-foot table, and we don't own an 8-foot table. So I was concerned, I'm going to be paying extra for no reason. So I wrote to him and I said, I see that you have 6-foot tables available again. Can I swap to a 6-foot table? Or can I put something on the side of my 6-foot table to make up the 8-foot space? And he said to me that the tables were provided, which they don't say that on their website. So that actually kind of changes the game a little bit. I decided to stay with the 8-foot table that they're going to provide for us, but I am going to look into getting some orange 8-foot linens. They're going to provide linens too, but I'd rather have the orange that matches our brand and will help us stand out. He said there wouldn't have been room for any sort of bookcases or anything because we're going to be touching other tables. That's going to kind of stink a little bit to be packed in so tight. So hopefully we'll workshop a little bit in terms of how we do our setup for the 8-foot table with that in mind, because we're pretty much going to be bringing just like toys and the dice bags and deck boxes. I'm not really going to be bringing housewaresy things. I thought about it because we are in the mall and we're going to get regular foot traffic too, but depending on where we set up, like we may only be really getting people that are there for card stuff. So I think we're just going to take it like we did at CardCon and just bring the toys and the gaming stuff. I think that's going to do better for us. And worst comes to worst, if we decide that, we feel like we could have sold more, we can always bring more the second day. That is kind of the beauty of some of these multi-day shows, is that we can change things up on the fly. I'm sorry if I look a little distracted. My landlord is out here, cleaning up the driveway a little bit. I'm actually in my driveway. So, it was distracting me a little bit. You probably won't see him on camera, but I'm sorry. I have ADHD, and it doesn't take much to have my eyes peel away. Anyway, so let's move into what I've been working on the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to start with the big stuff first. I don't have Mark here to help me manage all the inventory, so bear with me. First is another hoodie bear. I actually have made 3 new hoodie bears. Ta-da! 1, 2, and 3. Aren't they cute? I can't stop. They're so fun. This pattern is by Nooks Hooks. It is really easy, and the pattern itself also comes with costume hoodies for a frog and a chicken and a little duck. I haven't made any of those yet, but I might do that as we get closer to Easter for some other fun little options. This one was just kind of to use up the jelly bean yarn with a little bit of green extra, so because I wasn't going to win yarn chicken on that with the white. This one so far is my niece Maddie's favorite. She picked that one up immediately and said it was so cute. So, toddler approved. This one I made first. This is mostly, I apologize. This was all Bernat, as I'm throwing it. This was Bernat blanket in baby in jelly beans. This is also Bernat blanket baby in white. And actually I took it back. This is vintage white. And then the green is Bernat baby blanket in baby green. And this one, the brown, is actually Loops and Threads Demi Pearl in deep mahogany. I really like this brown. I think it's just a good brown, and it's warmer than a lot of the Bernat dark browns are, so this is definitely a favorite, and I'll be using it more. This bright red is Premier Parfait Plush in Poppy. This is the brightest red I can find. Nobody else seems to have a really good red like this. Bernat blanket has a crimson, but it's still a little darker. And I really like the Poppy. I know Michael's Loops, Sweet Snuggles, the big Sweet Snuggles, has a bright red like this, but they don't make it in the Sweet Snuggles light. But if they did, I would be all over that. You hear that, Michael's? Sweet Snuggles light in bright red would be awesome. So, and then the pink is just a little bit of Bernat Blanket Brights in Pixie Pink that I just happen to have laying around. And incidentally, the third bear is done in that same Pixie Pink. And the light brown of her fur is also Loops and Threads Demi Pearl in Mojave Desert. And I just used a little bit of that baby blanket in bright white, or regular white, for her heart as well. I decided after I made that skull one that the color changes would make any shapes on here really weird. So that's why I kind of went with a little heart applique. I just Googled some random how to crochet a heart in one round kind of pattern. I believe it was Hooked by Robin. And I'll find the little tutorial and link it. But yeah, I think these are super cute. I'm probably going to be using the red one as a raffle prize next Saturday. Because in addition to the quarter auction and the bingo prizes, which are all vendor vouchers, there is going to be a traditional table raffle. So I'm going to use that for the table raffle prize. And I think I'm going to be making just a quick little coaster / dishcloth set, maybe with a little crocheted basket for the quarter auction prize. I had thought I would just leave it as a gift certificate to our table, but I didn't know if that was kind of tacky or what. I don't know. I'm going to kind of see how that goes. But if I do finish that set, you'll probably see that in our next recap, because our next recap will be Friday, the day before or either Friday afternoon or early Saturday morning we'll be recording that, because we don't have to set up till 3:30 on Saturday, so we might have time to record Saturday morning. So anyways, that's it for the bears. Next up, I have a couple of dinosaurs that I made. This is the Chubby Dino pattern by Studio Phoebe 22. I was a free pattern on Instagram. She does also sell, I think, the pattern for this and a pattern for a jumbo one on her Etsy. I do have the pattern for the jumbo one. I just haven't made one yet. Both of these feature the white on their bellies is just Bernat Blanket white, and the scales on this one. This is Bernat Baby Blanket in Pixie Dot, this purple one. I think that's really kind of cute. And then this is more of that Bernat Blanket and Jelly Beans. So I'm definitely going to have to make up some more dinosaurs. I'm still struggling with the placement of the feet and the tail, but I feel like we're almost there in terms of getting them to where they're going to really sit nicely. They're almost there. I have a couple of little torty mini cats. I'm really trying to build up some stock of the minis, so I don't have to be making those like at 4 o'clock in the morning before a show. I always feel like I never have enough cats, and it's really because, unlike some of the other makes I make, I can't really batch these. Like, I can't just do all the faces or do all the things. The only thing I could really do would be to do the body and then do all the tails, which at that point, the tails are so easy, especially on these little mini guys, that I'm pretty much just making one cat at a time, and they're all kind of slightly different. So it is what it is, right? So next up, we have just a couple of little octopuses. I had some gray yarn that I just happened to have out that I was working with, so I thought, I'll make a couple of mini octos in gray. I'm going to have to focus a little bit more on building up my stock of mini octos. We've mostly sold through them at this point. So, and the same thing with the turtles, as the turtles can be pretty much any color, so we've been really kind of, I feel like I'm missing a turtle. I'm not missing a turtle. I lied. So I have 2 of these guys that are just using the jelly beans for their shells. The green here is Bernat Blanket Brights in Go-Go Green, I think. Yes. No. I lied. These are also the Baby Blanket in Baby Green. And so is this one is also in the Baby Green, but using the Pixie Dot on the shell. And this one I flipped the colors on. This is using the Pixie Dot as the body. And this is the Go-Go Green, the Bernat Blanket Brights Go-Go Green. I really like the Bernat Blanket Brights, but I'm afraid that they're going to end up discontinued if they aren't already, because it's getting harder and harder to find them. So I'm trying to use up what I got, but I'm probably going to find myself not repeating any of those colorways. Next up, we've got a bunch more drifts. This one I did in the Bernat Blanket Mystical Pink Quartz again to replace the one that we sold at the Mother Brain Market. So I have that. And I did one in gray. This is Loops and Threads Demi Pearl in deep Gulf Gray, or dark Gulf Gray. And that's the same one I used for the mini octos too. And then I have one in the Pixie Dot color. And this I thought was really fun. I originally bought the Pixie Dot to make dinosaurs, and I do look really good in that, but I also thought that this would be fun for an octopus as well. So I'm hoping all these fun colors will sell. I'm probably not going to go too wild with them just in case they don't. But I did have a suggestion from a viewer the last time, was to use the jelly beans to make a drift. And so, Emma, as you see, I made a jelly bean drift. I thought that was super fun too. I really, really like this pattern. Not only is it really easy to make, but I think it does really good at showcasing some variegates that I can't really use for anything else. And I went crazy when I first started buying plush yarn. So there's plenty of things that I have that I'm not sure what I'm going to use with those colors. So this is a good outlet for that. I'm definitely going to try to use up more of the patterns I've been buying. So hopefully I'll be able to use up some more of these other colors on new things. And yeah, words. I know them. Hopefully we'll have some new things coming out that I'll probably have to show in the next video. My goal was to try to get a Valentine's Day drop or shop update on Etsy. I still have to take photographs for a lot of that. I still haven't finished the bouquet blanket. I'm almost done, but it is definitely a daunting process. So I don't know if I'm really going to have that ready to have up on Etsy in time for Valentine's Day. That may be something that extends its life into spring, into Mother's Day. But I want to have it done hopefully by Saturday so I can at least have it on my table at the quarter auction. But the last thing I have to show, and I really can't take credit for this either because I saw this on Instagram from Nina Elaine Crochets, and I just made some chickens that were pink. I used burlap blanket tan pink for this and a little bit of the pixie pink on their combs. Real easy. I'm not going to make a ton in pink. I just thought I'd throw a couple up there for giggles for Valentine's and see how they do. I mean, if they fly off the shelf, maybe I'll make that a regular feature, but I'm not expecting it to. So I just thought I'd do that for giggles. So yeah, I'm going to be we'll throw these up on Etsy and try to get something up for Valentine's Day. There's still plenty of time left to shop for Valentine's Day and for me to ship it out and have it there on time. So we'll work on that. That's my goal for this afternoon, is to take some photos and work on that. In other Etsy news, which really kind of has me salty at the moment, I received a trademark violation on one of my listings, and it was the listing for my emotional support chicken nuggets. The way that works with Etsy is when they receive a trademark or copyright complaint from an authorized person, that they do a little bit of due diligence to determine that the claim is legit. And when they do that, they remove the listing. They don't delve into, does it really match the thing? They just determine if the complaint is coming from someone legit. They just pull it down. They then kind of wash their hands of it almost and expect you to then communicate with the complainant. And supposedly, I did some research, and you're supposed to be able to maybe appeal it. But when I look at it with my shop, I don't know why or what the criteria is, but it says appeal is not available for me. So I'm not sure what that is there. The complainant is Knitting Tree LA, which is the designer behind the very viral emotional support chicken pattern on Ravelry. She has a knit version and also crochet version, and she also sells kits to make them on her website. And so at first blush, what the complaint has nothing to do with her pattern. I've never bought her pattern. I believe I only got the trademark strike because in my listing for the chicken nuggets, the title is strictly emotional support chicken nugget. And apparently she has the trademark for emotional support chicken. But it also says the trademark category applies to patterns, kits, and instructions. So on that hand, I'm selling a finished object. So, and it's a nugget, not a chicken. So, and it's not even made from her pattern. So I'm not sure whether this was just caught up in a sweep because of the wording in the title and description, or because of something deeper. I'm a little nervous because, it seems kind of like the big leagues, but I think I'm going to actually send an email and see if I can get to the bottom of whether it is just the wording or not and go from there. I did a little more research, and come to find out, there is a company that makes the manufactured plushie chicken nuggets, actually copyrighted emotional support. But only as it pertains to plushies. They're not going to come trademarking after you for, your emotional support pet or something like that. But, so that's something else I have to consider, is that I think I can't put the listing back up because it literally says in big red letters, deactivated by Etsy. So I'm not going to try and gamble with that and put that back on. But as far as I can tell, the trademark for the other company does not preclude me from having a crochet plush chicken nugget per se. I just can't call them emotional support chicken nuggets, which is fine. We'll find another name for them. Snack companions, or just put chicken nugget plush or something. And I'll have to put it up with new pictures and a whole new listing, and we'll go that route. But I still think I would like to reach out to the Knitting Tree and just kind of get some clarity on that, if it is just strictly the wording or what, because maybe they can remove the strike from me. Having that violation doesn't deactivate me, and it didn't take away my star seller, although they do threaten you with the idea if you have more than one violation, they will take away star seller, and you can have your shop deactivated. So I really don't want to be on a precipice where, because I have this one issue, even if I fix it, that if something else were to come down the line and someone try to claim something on me, that it would be enough to shut me down completely. Like, that's very concerning. And if I can kind of reach out an olive branch and garner some goodwill, then we'll try that. And worst they can do is say no and tell me to kick rocks. I'm not trying to steal their thunder. I wasn't trying to confuse people in any way away from their products. But at the same time, I'm a very small shop, and I don't have the traffic and the following to take my business to another platform right now. So I have to make Etsy work for me, at least in the short term. So, and it's just part of a bigger problem, is that I don't get a lot of views on Etsy. I mean, I get less than 10 views per day. Some days I have 0. So I am small potatoes compared to probably a million other people that could be stealing this person's pattern or in Trademark or whatever. So I'm hoping that they see that and are able to at least throw me a little bit of a bone. But I know they don't have to do that. If it is a matter of wording, I was in violation, but I'm going to try. But that is, and I will keep researching and make sure that I'm not coming afoul of anything else, because that is one thing that I adhere to. I very much I don't sell anything licensed. I don't sell anything at someone else's IPs. The patterns that I use, many of which I've paid for, all clearly state that I can sell the finished object from the patterns. And I know here in the US that's not really enforceable, that I could even if it said don't to sell it, and that I could sell it even if it says don't sell it. But the morally right thing to do would be to not do that. And usually people that put things like that say do not sell the finished project or personal use only, it's usually because they also sell the finished product in addition to the pattern. And I wouldn't want to steal their thunder on that point either. We all got to make our money, and we all got to make our livelihoods. And as much as we're all competitors, at the same time, I would much rather make my money on the merits of my own work than through anything nefarious, if that makes sense. So yes, that was a little bit of a downer, but we're gonna get through it. And I think that's all I have for you today. I still don't really have a what I'm reading. I just have not been anywhere in terms of audiobooks or real books or anything like that. But I do have a what I'm watching. So I managed to get Mark to start Bridgerton, and he's enjoying it so far, but he's definitely had a lot of questions in terms of the Regency era period, and there's a lot of liberties that are taken with Bridgerton for dramatic effect and for fun and whatnot. And there's a lot of things that I've researched or I looked up when I watched it the first time. And so I'm sure he loves watching these things with me, because every time he's got a question, I'm here with the pause button. I'm glad you asked. And so today's channel shout out is going to be, actually it was my top channel for 2025, is History Calling. She does a lot of deep dives into things, particularly pertaining to medieval history, especially with royalty, especially in Great Britain. It is a channel that's based in Northern Ireland, but she's a researcher and genealogist, and obviously also an author. And all of her opinions are very well researched and sources cited, and it's a really, really good, accurate history resource. And I really enjoyed, learning about all these different things, and including she has touched base on the Regency era a couple of times with relation to Bridgerton. So that was a really interesting tie-in as well. So I'm going to leave a link and the logo for you to see and check out for yourself if that's something that you like. So I think we're going to call it now here. Thank you for sticking with me to the end if you did. So let's drop me some comments. Let's discuss some things. Let me know what you're working on, what you're looking forward to. See if we can get some conversations going. And remember, again, hit that like button, subscribe, share. All of those things are free and they help us grow. And we really appreciate it. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.